Alright, I got a call for a compressor locked out. Compressor 3, BS03. It's a dual temp rack. You got the low temp and the medium temp loops. Subcooler. I gotta redo this. That's not really the right transducer for the Novar. When it gets closer to summer, I'll do it. I redid it on the other rack here, and it's working good. So I just changed the transducer to the one Novar wants, communicating with their board or controller. So there's compressor 3. And I got here, it was running. All of them running. 4 was off at the breaker. But I noticed, trying to focus, but not gonna do it. So I just go into network, and right here it's Spectrum A. At the top, COM, compressors, output. That's so fucking annoying, you can't see shit. But I noticed in there that there's a Comp BS. That's actually BS01 compressor. And then BS01 is actually 2. BS02 is actually 3. And so forth. So it took me a second to see how they had that set up. But yeah, I just popped this cover off. I looked for any shorts. See what kind of motor protection, if it had a module in there. Didn't see any rub throughs. So I turned the breaker back on and forced it on in the controller because it wasn't calling. So you just got to go into network with the Opus and look through what different modules you can get into. So here's the timer. So if the low pressure switch or the phase monitor go and trip, when everything comes back on, these timers just stage in the compressors. So this one's 2.5 minutes, that one's 2 minutes, the other one's 1.5. So you don't put everything back on at once, but I just checked on this one, it's contact, well here's the coil voltage, which has voltage, you can see the light lit up. There's just two other contacts on this. We have 9 and 5, which are normally open and they're closed, so it's sending power through. I went over here. If you look at terminals L and M, they were closed as well. So the module's not tripped. The core sense is not tripped. So then somebody had it off. I don't know why yet. I don't know who. But that dip switch 8 on the compressor output module, that was flipped off. So I flipped it on, everything came on. Just check the amperage. exactly what the other compressors are. So I'm gonna see if I can get a little bit more oil in here. I put my gauge on the oil regulating valve, the Y126, that guy here. This is a high pressure system. You got this big separator. It's got a filter in there. And this one actually has a gauge where you can see the differential pressure. And when you start getting, around 12, you got to get rid of that filter. I mean, don't quote me on 12, but you don't want that much. So it will need to be changed, but it's good now. They actually piped a bypass on this rack up. Not exactly sure why. I mean, I guess it'll get you out of a jam, but I mean, you can just take the filter out, worst comes to worst, or change it, right? But it's not like you can't have the oil off for a little while and end up running out of oil. So I also noticed this was completely full. So I checked my pressure. We're at 75 pounds. The element is piped, actually goes down under the rack, and it's sensing from, it's getting the pressure on the element from the medium temp header. So that's a 25-pound differential. So I'm running about like a 50-pound suction. So that's good. I didn't see any air in this one. I did a turn clockwise to lower. Counterclockwise will raise it. Clockwise will lower. And it's been like 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and it's starting to go down. So it's good. I'll see where it's at in a little bit. Alright, so it's got an Emerson VFD. Alright, so it seems like an easy one. We'll see what happens. I mean, it don't feel like it's overheating or anything. It's been running a little while now. Don't feel any different than the other guys. See if I can get a little adjustment out. I'm going to turn this one counterclockwise. And I got some bad sensors down in the frozen doors, so they should be in probably Monday. So I'll come back and check on this. See where the level's out after I adjust it. Hope you guys have a good weekend. Take care. Alright, so somebody had this set pretty much all the way down to its lowest setting. So I turned it all the way up. Carefully, if you go too far, you end up losing the float inside. So as soon as you feel any resistance, that's it, stop. Then I ran it carefully all the way up and put it back to factory. Factory's 3.5 turns from top. I put it 3 turns. And it's starting to fill. Now that pressure's down a little. These valves usually come factory set around like 20 pounds, which you shouldn't have to touch them when you get them new. 20 pounds is good. So it's 20 pounds. The outlet will be 20 pounds higher than your element pressure. We're at 70-ish. We're at 45. So yeah, it went down 5. That's good. So we're still about 25. So that's good. And that's still going down a little more. All right. Always fill out the logbook.